Good morning, guys. I'm still trying to put all the lights on. We are kind of getting used to sleeping in a little bit at my house with the storm. In fact, I don't know, Jonathan's still asleep. Somehow he crawled in our bed. Grace is still asleep. The dogs are in the basement, so David is out, but I don't even know where he is. So he may come in while I'm doing this Facebook Live. As you know, the hurricane will be moving through our area. And right now we're just getting some mild winds. It's not too bad. And a little bit of rain. We're expected to get quite a lot of rain between now and Sunday. So anyway, I really do feel worried for the people who are to our east. It's going to be far worse for them. And so certainly it's a little different. So I apologize, I'm running late. But day 5, if you're following along in the book, it's on page 126 when the bread basket comes. I spend a lot of time in this book, in Keto Living Day by Day, talking about how to stay on plan in very practical ways. And so it's Friday, and I like to call that Friday. I'm not quite as peppy about the Friday piece of it, just because we're home, right? Because our work and schools were closed yesterday and today. But it is Friday, it is the weekend, and even though we're kind of inside right now, and will be because of things being closed, lots of times the weekend comes and we go out with others. And we either, good morning guys, I see people coming online. We either go to their house to eat. They come to our house to eat. We go to restaurants to eat. So Fridays are those times when we generally have some social stuff going on. And what makes it hard sometimes at the weekend, like when we're eating in our own kitchen and we're controlling the food, it's a lot easier. We know the carbohydrates, the fat, we know the good fats, we know what we can eat. But when we go out with others, it can be really challenging because ordering out, or we feel like we're imposing on them if they're cooking for us. And so I talk a lot in this book about how do you do that? How do you do keto? How do you stay on plan with others? And let's be honest, there are some times when you're like, well, it's the weekend, I deserve it, I worked hard. Well, you know what you deserve on the weekend? You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel good about what you're eating. You deserve to feel good about yourself. And you deserve to have food that's going to keep your body healthy. So I talk a lot on pages 76 to 78 for strategies for handling social situations. If you don't have the book, I'm going to go through some of those tips with you, because remember, you don't have to have the book to go through this guide with us, but I'm going to go through that. And as long as we have power, I'm going to be posting for you guys a menu to show you how we eat, or what you can do in a restaurant. There's a couple menus in the book, and I'm going to post one of those and talk you through it. I'm having a hard time finding the pages, and I apologize. Here we go. So one of the best things that you can do when you're surviving eating out, and I'm talking about the tips on page 76 and 77. So first of all, decide in advance of the event. Decide in advance. Before you leave your house, before you go out with others, before you go to the restaurant, decide that you're going to stay on plan. So, I talk about shoes a lot. I was talking yesterday about how I love shoes and pocketbooks, right? And so I have to sometimes when I'm shopping set a budget for myself. Okay, so I might want a particular pair of shoes or particular pocketbook purse, but I'll say, I can only spend this much money on it, right? This is what I have $50 I can spend on shoes, period. And so if I can get my shoes and stay on a budget, I'm good. Now, if I just go out and find a shoe sale and start trying on shoes and putting those rascals on, I'm liable to come home. I've done this before, a bit of a splurge. I haven't done it in a long time. Haven't done it in a very long time. But I could come back with 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs of shoes. That's a lot of shoes, isn't it? And I usually would have to hide them. I'd put a couple in my, Anyway, in the closet, just a few at a time, and pray that David didn't decide to clean the car out that weekend. But the same is true for us with regards to eating out. So when I set a budget, when I decide in advance, I'm not buying 5 pairs of shoes, all right? I'm going to spend this much money. I'm staying under this amount. And then I do a lot better with my budget. The same thing with food. If you decide in advance before you get to the restaurant, then they start passing the bread basket, right? Or everybody starts ordering dessert. When you decide in advance, you go, okay, now wait a minute. I'm not eating that. You're not deciding in the moment. If you've decided before you leave the house, I'm staying on plan, when those things happen, when they pass the bread basket or everybody orders dessert, you're not sitting there going, should I or shouldn't I? That decision's made. That decision's made before you smelled everything. That decision's made before people start pressuring you or asking you to join them in dessert. What I did one time, and this was recent, within the past year, I was out with people and there was a lot of pressure to have a donut. And I write about that. That's one of our daily guides. But there was a lot of pressure to have a donut. And I decided in advance I wasn't going to eat the donut. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it gracefully or graciously. But I also, what I said was, I went in and I didn't judge their choices, which is really important. And we'll talk about that. That's in here too. Your decision is your decision. That's step 3. Your decision is your decision, not anyone else's. But I didn't judge their choices. I went in and said, oh, wow, that looks great. What flavor are you getting? And then I ordered last. And I decided I would get a coffee. And I made a big deal over that coffee. I was like, this is the best coffee. This is the best coffee I've had. I haven't had coffee in a long time. This is so good. So that I could enjoy it with them. The thing about, and this is step 2, the thing about eating out with others is nobody wants to see you deprived. It's the weekend. We're going out. We want to spend time together. We want everybody happy. And others tend to think if you're not ordering dessert, if you're not eating the bread, you're feeling deprived. So that was my number 2 tip on page 76. Never say diet. When you say, oh, I'm on a diet, people will think, oh, you're deprived. And they don't want you to feel bad. And so they'll say things to you like, oh, you don't need to lose that much weight. Oh, you've done so well. You deserve a break. They'll say things like that to try and get you to join them. And the pressure becomes worse. I never say diet. What I say now is, oh, you know what? I can't eat those, or I say I can't eat this. When I eat that, I feel bad. It makes me feel sick. No one wants you to feel sick. I guarantee you. If you're out to have a good time with your friends and you say, oh, that makes me feel bad or that makes me sick, I'm afraid if I ate that, it would upset my stomach. I'm afraid if I ate that, I would just feel bad. Nobody wants you to feel bad. Everybody wants you to have a great time. And so when you frame it that way, instead of I can't or I'm deprived, when you frame it as, I don't want to do that because it makes me feel bad, people will back off every single time. I promise. So step 1, decide in advance of the event so you're not deciding in the heat of the moment. Go ahead and set those boundaries before you walk into the restaurant and you get tempted. Never say diet. Tell them, yeah, I find that I feel a lot better when I don't eat bread. I find that I feel a lot better when I eliminated sugar. That will make the connection, and it might even convince them that they want to give this a try as well. Number 3, make sure it's your decision. We don't want our food choices judged, so you don't want to be seen as or perceived as judging their food choices. So be careful with that. I've been there. I've done that. But you really want to be careful that your decision is your decision and that they can enjoy themselves just as you're going to enjoy your extra serving of bacon, right? Shift the focus away from food. I do this as quickly as I can. If I'm ordering and it's uncomfortable, or if I'm at someone's house and it's a bit uncomfortable because they're saying, oh, I made this just for you, or this is my great-grandmother's special recipe, you have to try it. Then I might say something like, wow, I bet that is amazing. You are so lucky to have her recipe. I found that when I have like sugar, it makes me feel bad. So I would love to try it, but I just really don't want to get sick. And so I'm so glad you made it. Thank you for doing that. That was very, very thoughtful. Oh, tell me about your china. It's beautiful. And so you've shifted the attention away from the food. Or if you've never been to their house, compliment something about their house. Not be sincere, don't be insincere, but shift it away from the food. You might even talk about one of your favorite memories with your grandmother, or how you love those recipes or those heirlooms that are passed down in your family. Number 5, step 5, last one in our tips for eating out. Be the victim, be the victor, not the victim. Be the victor, not the victim. You can sit there, and I can promise you, I've been at more meals than you know, where somebody was eating something, and I thought, man, I wish I could just have a piece. Why can't I be normal? Why can't I just have a piece of the birthday cake, right? Why can't I just enjoy dessert? Everybody else is enjoying it. Why can't I do it? You can sit there and have a little pity party at the table, but let me tell you, that is far less productive than being the victor. If you sit there at the table and you think, you know what, there was a time when I would have really wanted this. There was a time when I would have felt deprived. There was a time when I would have worried about fitting in this booth at this restaurant. But instead, and you use that and you say, I'm the victor here. I'm being strong. I made my decision that I was going to stay on plan, and I'm staying on plan. I'm the victor. I'm not the victim because I can't have that. I am the victor because I've chosen not to, and I've held to that, and I'm making good choices to keep myself healthy. That's what day 5 is about as we're moving into the weekend. It's about making those decisions that keep us feeling good and keep us feeling healthy. Step 1, decide in advance. Step 2, never say diet. Step 3, make it clear that your decision's your decision. You're not judging others. Step 4, shift the focus away from the food. Talk about other things. You're not there just to eat. You're there to enjoy their company. Step 5, be the victor, not the victim. Feel good about your decisions. On page 78, I actually give you some tips, some strategies, some things to say. For example, if you're dealing with food pushers, you can say, gosh, that has to be the most gorgeous cake I've ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, I no longer eat flour and sugar. My doctor has been so pleased that my labs are better. I don't want to eat anything that might mess that up. There you go. You shift the focus away from the food. Also, I talk about eating in restaurants, and I'm not going to go into that on this video. I'm going to try and do a YouTube video if we have power about how eating in restaurants and just general tips for eating out. And then that's where I'll share on my website some of the menus and then my acronym, staying safe. Scan the menu, ask questions, find options, and eat until you're satisfied, not until your plate is clean. It's the weekend. You got this. I'll be here as long as I have power. I'll be here. I understand that a couple neighborhoods around us are losing power. So far, it's not bad. The winds are not bad. We expect that we'll have power until this afternoon. But again, that just depends on what happens. So we also anticipate some flooding. Not really sure the level of that, but we're all just hanging in there, right? Day by day, one day at a time. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday. I hope that I will see you for a Facebook Live tomorrow morning. I will be here if I can, and I hope that this 5 days have been fantastic for you. I hope that the hunger is managed. I hope that you're over keto flu. I hope that you're enjoying the foods. Yeah, I hope the foods are good. Remember, if you're hungry, you're doing it wrong. So keep eating when you're hungry, not when you're bored, not when you're stressed. Eat when you're hungry, and I hopefully will see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.